Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the weekly landscape update video that I do on Wednesdays at this house I moved into in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's a 2/10 of an acre lot in zone 7B. There's a playlist on my channel called New House where all of these videos reside. If you'd like to catch up, I show how everything's been laid out and how far I've come over I don't know how many weeks or months at this point. They're all blending together right now, but I made major progress this week cutting back everything to the wood line. There were vines all up in these trees, and there's still some where I've cut them off and they're fading. The leaves will drop off. I need to reach up in here a little bit higher and grab some more of those. Here's the view from the drone, and where I'm standing right here, all the way across here. Limbs were all the way out to here. You can see how much of a mess this fence is. This is the temporary fence right here that you see in the back of the videos, and then the chain link fence was back there. It got mugged with stuff for I don't know how many decades, but all of that will eventually come out and there'll be a more permanent fence back here. But I'm also going to gain about 3 feet on this property line when I do that. Holly has decided to join me. There's a path that comes around, if you remember the original layout from the drone, there's a path that comes around there, and there's actually an osmanthus. It's kind of in rough shape right here that I'm going to take out. But the path will continue to here. I had said I was taking this metal building down for a long time, and what I knew about it though was the inside of it had this metal frame which I was going to convert to a greenhouse, but I was going to wait to take the sheet metal off of it to determine whether it was actually possible. I figured there's some possibility it would just fall apart, so I hadn't said that up until now. I was prepared to build it some other way, but I'm going to convert this into a greenhouse. I'm going to clean this frame. I'm going to paint it black. I'm going to put some sort of wood frame underneath it, and so the door will be here. There'll be I'm going to use the wiggle wire track on the edge of it, so that the plastic can be taken on and off of it easily. There'll be some plants in here that will screen the majority of it. And the sun is about to come up over the house right now, and so it'll be in the sun for maybe 4 to 5 hours a day, which is about all I want because it's going to be mainly a propagation greenhouse. My seeding is done inside on the seedling racks. I don't really need to do any seeding out here. If I did, I'd probably want sun on it a little longer than that, but this will be perfect for propagation. It'll warm it up in the morning and get it warm, and then be in the shade in the afternoon, so I don't have to ventilate it or cool it in some way. And so should be perfect. It's a long way to go. It's not an attractive frame, I realize at this point. The backside of my neighbor's shed over here is mildewed and the trim on it the painting was never finished on it. And he saw it yesterday while I was clearing all this out. I think he's going to take care of that, so that will be good. One thing I didn't get accomplished this week that I wanted to was finishing the painting on the shed, although I did paint the trim. I cut in the blue again. I'm going to roll the blue on one more time and then paint the trim white. That'll be done this week. Wanted to do it already, but I just hadn't gotten to it. There were a few more details added on the porch this week, including television, which got to have. It'll have a cover on it. I'm waiting for the cover to come now. I haven't had any bad weather thus far in there without a cover on it, so that's been good. I also brought out my I'm going to turn the camera here. Okay, now we're over here. You see, I did a video on this Tokyo Tower fringe tree. It'll be up tomorrow. So you guys can learn the details about it. And this is the contorted Japanese maple I had from the old house that I had container planted. I get a lot of questions on container planting plants. What can I leave in the pot forever? And the answer is really nothing. This one's been in this container now for, I don't know when that video went up. I'd have to look back and see, but maybe 18 months or so. I'm going to pull it up out of this container and knock some of the soil off of it this week and add some additional potting soil to it. The potting media, peat moss and pine bark and non-soil media that we use in these containers just doesn't last all that long. It just runs out of oomph. The difference being the soil is rock dust and it has mineral content in it, and so the plants have long-term access to mineral content that they don't have in things like pine bark and peat moss and that kind of thing. So you can overcome that somewhat with fertilizer, but they do just kind of get tired in a pot. So there you go. I'm replacing some of the soil in that this week. I'll turn you a little bit further, and you can see I did not complete the building. This Golden Falls redbud, which is actually leafing out now. I had gotten this from Pender Nursery. The reason it's going to sit here on blocks like this, I hope I came over here far enough where you can see this. Yes, okay. The reason it's sitting on blocks is I'm waiting for it to root into that pot. I can't remember if I said that last week, so if you see that in the video here for whatever reason, it's going to be a week or two before I plant it because I want it to develop roots in that pot. They had gotten it in bare root, planted it, and then I came and got it. So it's just not rooted into that pot. I won't be planting my tomatoes probably for another week. Let me show you the soil thermometer real quick. This is a real simple soil thermometer that I've shown several times on the channel for various things. And the soil temperature now is at 60 degrees, which is pretty much the time when tomatoes can go in the ground. We need the soil temperature to be up around 60, so keep that in mind. So like I say, 60 degrees or above is the optimal temperature for the soil to be. And then I'd really like the air temperature to stay above 50, and we're supposed to have a 40-degree night on Friday. So, you know, I use these three pieces of information together. My average last frost date, which is right around mid-April. And then the soil temperature needs to also be 60, because the soil temperature could definitely be below 60 well past the middle of April. And then just logic, I look at the 10-day forecast and see what the temperatures are going to be at night. And I don't want nights in the 40-degree nights. It's not a frost, but see, the thing with tomatoes are truly tropical plants, and if you put them into cold soil, it can actually make the roots can kind of go into a little bit of a dormancy and stop pulling nutrients up to the top of the plant, and so you'll get deficiencies. I used to make the folks at my garden center bring all of our tomato and pepper plants inside on nights that were below 45, and I'd always get, well, it's not a frost, it's not going to hurt them, but it does hurt them. It can actually, like I say, prevent them from taking up nutrients, and you end up with purple leaves on tomatoes. If you put them in too early, you'll end up with purple leaves on tomatoes. It's a phosphorus deficiency, and that's what happens. It can actually end up stunting them. Tomatoes put in at the proper time with the proper soil temperature after the frost-free date, nights that are above 50, will beat those ones that were stunted and were put in 2 weeks too early every time. So keep that in mind. Get them, don't plant them. Let's see, and that would be the case with my peppers as well. I put up a video getting these containers in from Michael Carr Designs and some plants from plantsbymail.com, but my packages have been separated, and there's still one more to come, but I did get 6 more pieces. I'll show you those real quick. There were actually 8 more pieces I got since that video went up on Monday. I got this Dear Dolores hydrangea, which there's a video on my channel for this one. This is a remontant variety that repeat blooms, and I got one of these solar flare deciduous azaleas right here, and it's just waking up right now. These are native azaleas. This one was one of Buddy Lee's introductions. I had 2 of those at the old house, and so there's a video on those as well. I had these. This is Tacoma here, this orange Tacoma, and then I've got a yellow one here as well, Lydia. And Bells of Fire is what this one's called. If you watched my videos last year, every one that I did in the porch swing on that front porch had those in it, sitting on a table. I never repotted them. I got them in from Plants by Mail, and they sat on that table the whole season and never stopped blooming. Really big time performers. And they're on that plantsbymail.com availability list right now. If you want something that'll bloom all summer, it's a tropical. It's going to be an annual for you, but it will literally bloom from now until October with almost doing nothing to it. I think I cut it back a couple times just to control the size. I got a Charity Blue Dianella that'll definitely go in a container with that blue foliage all season. I got a Real Glory Leucanthemum right there, which is similar to those Real Charmer that I showed in that video the other day. And then this is a Merlot lavender. This is a lavender that's supposed to be more heat tolerant. I have not tried these yet, so I'm anxious to try that out. But it's a beautiful variegation on it as well. And then there's a little lucky peach lantana right here. just starting to bloom. Of course, this thing, I just knocked flowers off of that one, but that'll bloom all summer long, and it'll go with this little lucky red that I got right there. So I'm super happy to have this stuff cut back to the property line. It was just that's been on my list since day one, and there's really just nothing planted right here in this whole corner because it was literally just under limbs all the way to where I'm standing right now. I also took out the other pole for the clothesline as well, was right here, and there's a hole there that I'm trying to avoid. I got to fill that hole in, so that's gone as well. So it was pretty good progress this week. I've got plants now to put in the ground. I've got plants to put in containers. Got plenty of containers to use, and I think that by next Wednesday, almost certainly the soil temperature is right for the warm season vegetables to go in. It looks like the temperatures will be fine. Like I say, Friday night's 40 degrees. I don't want that stuff in the ground during that. And I'll get that shed painted. So there'll be hopefully some more good progress this coming week. Thanks for following along with these videos. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And again, next Wednesday, I'll be back and hopefully move this thing forward every week all year. Thanks for watching.